Fox News' Leland Vittert is in Libya, where he got very close to the action today. Take a look at this.
RPG up, you can see it flying right down there. An incredible amount of firepower. We've got flak right up here above us. You can see they're trying to shoot down one of these Libyan Air Force Russian-made fighter jets that's coming over. The amount of aircraft fire that's coming out of this base is surely impressive, if for no other reason than just a couple of days ago they were bombed right here. You can see some of the other flak right up there.
And this is the USS Kearsarge making its way to Libya. Today, President Obama, the United States, and NATO are considering military options to deal with Libya. But come on, Gaddafi's been slaughtering his own people for 3 weeks now, and there's no end in sight. We need more than talk at this point. Let's bring in the all-star panel. On the left, we welcome back Fox News contributor Bob Beckel. On the right, we have Representative Louis Gohmert of Texas and Bo Dietl of Bo Dietl Associates. Representative, thanks for joining us on the panel today.
Always good to be.
Weigh in on this. There are a lot of things that go into the price of oil, but you know, Libya, sure. Obama's energy policy. What do you think of Obama's energy policy?
He has a policy?
Not really.
Well, no, that's the problem. Now, back when gas went up to $4 a gallon before in 2008, we were told, and I'm on the Natural Resources Committee, that at least 25% of that was pure speculation. We give nothing, by we, I mean this administration gives nothing to those speculating to indicate that we're going to help ourselves. Now, it's not just ANWR. That's a great source. The North Slope up there, the Outer Continental Shelf. But nobody is talking about the fact that this administration jumped in after a 7-year leasing process that Bush undertook beginning in 2001 and allowed companies to look at this area, Utah, northwest Colorado, southwest Wyoming. We're told there may be 1 trillion barrels of oil there.
The Bakken base?
And there may be 1 trillion barrels in the entire Middle East. We've got that much right there. They went through 7-year bidding process, let the leases go the end of 2008, and Salazar got the inside word, don't cash the checks. He came in January, sent the checks back. We could have had that online. Those that say, oh, ANWR's 10, 20 years out, we could have it online in 2 or 3. The pipeline's that close now.
Go ahead,
you know, also, Congressman, the horizontal drilling. I mean, this now has been perfected. There's a lot of oil there. We have to take the gloves off. You know, they give a million barrels a day in Libya. That's all they were throwing off, was 1 million barrels a day. My problem is with Saudi Arabia. We've been protecting Saudi Arabia for all these years. All our military bases are there. Hey, how about taking some oil in response to our military being there? Let them start paying some dollars for our military being over there.
Bob, you're listening. You're taking some heat here. You want to respond?
Yeah, I'd like to respond to the congressman who was on here before. It wasn't environmentalists. It was Halliburton out of your state, Congressman, that built lousy equipment that blew up and caused one of the great potentially environmental disasters.
Are you talking about Deepwater? Right?
I'm talking about Halliburton building that piece of machinery that blew up in the Gulf, and you ought to be ashamed that you guys haven't called them in front of your committee.
Are you talking about Horizon, Deepwater Horizon?
I'm talking Deepwater Horizon used Halliburton equipment to cut off. It was supposed to stop that pipe.
And the
it didn't
problem
work.
was this administration sent out union father and son to inspect. They didn't inspect
that thing. You guys got to keep apologizing for Halliburton. So I'll just let that go. Can I go back to?
It was a group of Deepwater drillers.
It was BP, Deepwater, and Halliburton's mud, cement,
and Transocean, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. And Transocean. They're all being sued. And
it's BP that had the 800 violations, not Exxon, not Shell, not those others.
Leave that aside. The idea that somehow there would not have been this moratorium if you hadn't had that blow up in BP is silly. Of course, it would not have been a moratorium, but. Having said that, let's get back to Libya.
Hold on.
When you say,
but the one lease that's been that passed the permit process in a year since the BP disaster, you know who got it? BP.
Well, fine.
Well, you're pointing the finger, and now you're saying, but that's okay. Give it back to them.
Listen,
don't blame BP for no permits and then give them the first permit.
If they pass the requirements for the permits, they're not permits.
They should all be passing the permits.
But when you go back and say, for example, for 3 weeks now, Mr. President, you might as well have said that, people are dying in Libya, and we're sitting around doing nothing. This is not some war game toy that you have on your kid's machine at home. Do you have any idea what it would take for us to have a no-fly zone over Libya, for example? Everybody sort of throws their hands up and says, let's have a no-fly zone. They have the most sophisticated anti-aircraft equipment in Tripoli that would knock down...
I don't think so. I think you just saw it, that artillery gun over there. They don't have
Bo, you don't know what you're talking about.
I do know about our fighters and what our response to their missile
can't
system.
put a no-fly zone up overnight.
Very simple, Bob.
And you're not
you send the planes in there, you knock out their response, their missile response. We did it in Iraq. We can certainly do it in Tripoli.
May I ask a sitting congressman?
The most advanced anti-aircraft is in Iran, the S-300, because we let it get there.
Who's we?
The United States sat
when
by
did that happen?
Russia,
It was 2007,
Lebanon.
Yeah, 2007.
And now we just rearmed. This administration just rearmed Lebanon.
Well, let's ask a question. Can we, in fact, put a no-fly zone if we have NATO, I guess, group consent?
I don't know that we should. Do we have that kind of vital interest? Yeah, I'm not sure we do. The problem is in the Middle East, this isn't an accident that this is all blowing up right now. When all these countries, historically, are always watching to see how allies are responding. When they see that we turn on our best friends like Israel, they realize, wow, this is a weak bunch of folks, just like they saw with Carter, and that's when it all comes
I just want, Bob, with all respect to you, Bob, we have equipment that knocks out these missile defense. As soon as they lock on to one of the planes, they respond right back. I'm very serious.
Okay,
this is technology we utilized in Iraq. We knocked out all the defenses that they had, and we certainly do it again.
We have bases near there. That's a big difference. This is talking about pre-positioning and a lot of equipment. I'm just saying it's not as easy as it sounds. And by the way, to say to turn your back on Israel is one of the most red herring comments I've heard in a long time. The Bush administration didn't engage Israel for 6 years, and the Obama administration's engaged them every month since they've been here.
That's where it's at.
Yeah, and telling them you better not go knock out Iran. We're not going to replace your planes. We're not.
Who told you that?
Wednesday night before the vote that Lebanon brought to the UN to slap Israel. Israel didn't even know for sure. We had not been telling them how we were going to vote.
Who told you that the U.S. government said? Who told you the U.S. government said to not?
We have to leave it there, guys. We have a lot more.
What do we do with him? String him up. And his wife too. Let's get rid of Ginny.
You can say anything. We're all friends. Hang him.
Unbelievable. Do you hear what he just said? He said hang him. My special guest today, Representative Louis Gohmert, wants AG, Attorney General Eric Holder, to investigate whether or not this slanderous liberal group should lose their non-profit status. Sir, you have the floor.
Well, it is outrageous what's been going on, and especially in the wake of Gabby Giffords being shot. We heard from all these leftists, and that's what Common Cause is. It's what they've been doing. It's why they brought Van Jones to the rally where this kind of stuff was said. And you know what? Since these things have been said, they're on video, people wanting to string up Clarence Thomas, my word, and his wife, too, cut off finger, whatever.
Cut off fingers, string them up, keep it real.
You know what Common Cause has said in response? In response to my bringing this out, that they need to be investigated. They're not nonpartisan. They're not for profit. They're in there as political as they can be. They have come out and said, these allegations are laughable. Not that we don't agree with these comments. No. They should have separated themselves from those comments. They've said nothing about apologizing.
I think an investigation as to them and defunding is the most ridiculous idea I've ever heard. I don't think that you can take an organization and you can castigate that organization and suggest that members are agreeable with what's going on simply because a few who had bad judgment, who didn't know what they were doing, were saying it in jest and poor taste.
They
incited it's a liberal group.
Yeah,
so you take
bring
people
these
who say
people
things
out there and you put them in that environment and jack them up, and they're going to say these kind of things.
You can't turn this into politics. These are people who are misguided, have no judgment whatsoever.
They brought them out there to do this.
They didn't bring them out there to do that. They're not responsible for that.
Congressman, honestly, I've seen some ultra-conservative groups and they got some idiots in them groups too.
And I agree.
You can't condemn the whole group for that. I have to agree here with Joey. I can't believe
Twice a
agree.
day. Look at this.
The point
I'm
is,
curious,
the point is,
which ones recommended hanging and cutting
well, no, but
fingers
if you
off?
listen to
I
that
haven't heard
woman,
that,
if you
Bo.
listen to that woman, do you think she really has any idea what she's saying? It sounds cool out of her lips. She thinks
knew
we're
enough
hanging
to know
around,
the
cut
judges
off their
watching
toes and all.
them.
These are idiots who are trying to get on the camera there to show
They
their
were
support of them.
invited there by Common Cause to go after
You think
Clarence
Congress
Thomas.
caused?
That's
You think
exactly
they
what they
sponsored
were
this
there for.
activity?
They do
Yes,
sponsor
they
it.
did.
No,
They
come
do.
on.
They
Guys,
did
if I may,
sponsor
they
the
do sponsor
activity.
it by giving them nonprofit status.
No, I'm not suggesting that, Eric. You think that they brought these people there and said, say these terrible things about justice
But if they
because
support
they
it,
have
Joey,
conservative
if they
ideology?
support that, they should be asked. If they support that, then it should be taken away as far as their
They
status.
brought
that's
these
another
people,
issue.
invited them there, had Van Jones come out and jack them up. Even the administration
what
couldn't
would
handle
happen?
it.
What would happen if we heard the Tea Party recommend someone being
There
strung
would people
up, hung,
be
or
out
fingers
there
cut off?
trying to arrest these people for inciting
Do you
this stuff.
disagree with that?
Of course I do. Of course I do. I think you have to separate the organization from the causes of which it stands for and the individuals who are so
I sure would have
outstanding.
loved to have heard that after Gabby was shot, when everybody
You did
was
hear it after.
blaming.
Don't blame this on
blaming
Gabby
talk
Giffords. That's a
shows,
totally
the
different
Tea
situation.
They were
parties,
blaming the Tea Party
There
for
was
freeing
getting
Sarah
shot.
There was
Palin.
rhetoric that was out of control when that
That's right.
happened. It was wrong then, and it's wrong now. Two
Right.
wrongs don't
Right,
make a
but the
right.
group
If
should
it was
be-
inappropriate to do it with Gabby Giffords,
And
why
you
is it appropriate
misrepresented
here?
what I said. I didn't say defund them. People can fund
There should be an
whatever
investigation
organization
for common
they want
cause
to.
because
Yeah, but
They
idiots
are
say
not
I think- I think-
nonpartisan.
Please,
They're not nonpartisan.
I think-
That's the point.
I think the answer here, Congressman, is both sides here. You know, this Common Cause group should be contacted by investigators and ask them how they stand by what these people say. And if they stand by it, it should be taken away. I do agree with you with that.
I hate to turn her very quickly, though. Do we know? Let's talk about this for a second. Public broadcasting should go private. Public broadcasting. Listen to this. PBS president Paula Kerger made $632,000
So what?
$632,000 in 2009.
So what?
Congressman, do we want our
I think
taxpayers
that's great for people to be
funding?
making that kind of money. But
On the
if
taxpayer
it's taxpayer money, it's a problem. PBS has some wonderful shows. They can stand on their own.
So
they
people
can
should work for free.
I mean,
I see.
Sesame
Whenever-
Street.
Okay,
My
so let's
kids
make it
watched.
clear.
I loved it. It's a cash
for
cow.
free.
It'll
All right,
make
so
them a
now
lot of
nationally,
money.
here's what we're doing. Nationally, what we do is we're going after public employees because they don't perform any service,
Paula
cut their
Kerger
salaries,
makes-
cut their
Oh,
benefits.
nobody has
Now
said
we're
they
going
don't
after
perform.
television
Paul,
people.
very quickly, run out of time.
Come
Paula
on.
Kerger makes
They do perform
50% more than the
services.
president of the United States.
Well, wait a second. When $1.8 million is given by some creep Hungarian named George Soros into NPR, I got a problem because I don't like what
We're
he
going
says
to
all
have
the
to
time.
leave it there. Coming up
Yeah,
with
George Soros,
the
creep.
cyber mailbag and find out what you have to say.